All right, students, welcome back. We're talking about Chapter 6, E-commerce Marketing and Advertising Concepts. Let's talk about a relatively newer form of online advertising called video ads. I'm sure you've encountered these scrolling through your feed on social media where a company will have a short video that would describe products or services that they have. Think of some of the inherent advantages that a video ad has over traditional pictures or text. Personally, I find that when I'm scrolling through a feed, I'm more often to stop scrolling when I see a video. And I typically look at that for much longer than I would a static advertisement. There's a lot of psychology that goes into this. If obviously, if we see moving images, we're going to want to hone in on that to look at it. Just sometimes products catch our eye a little better in a video ad. What do you think? When you see video ads, do you tend to look at these more than you would traditional ads, or do you just develop a blindness to any sort of advertisement on social media? Although growth of new consumers to the internet has slowed, the internet is still an expanding market. And it's almost unusual to hear that a lot of parts in the country are underserved as far as broadband internet goes, or even just reliable connection in general. If you live very far away from developed areas, maybe you're up in the mountains somewhere, or you're like a homesteader out west, it's very difficult to have reliable internet. However, we're starting to see like Starlink and other satellite forms, reliable and fast satellite internet, expand this to many areas that wouldn't have broadband access before. We also have some inequality as with internet access and specifically broadband access based on the income in certain areas, education, and ethnic areas. This is an unfortunate fact that we have. The internet isn't as accessible as what we want it to be to some areas, but we are making strides in that. That being said, companies need to understand what their demographic is, and does that demographic have access to the internet, and do they have access it in ways that that company wants to advertise? Broadband is really our standard that we're talking about here. We're talking about cable connections or even DSL connections to the internet. Really high speed, reliable, always on connections. Don't get me wrong, we still have people that can only access the internet through 56K or some other form of dial up modem. They may only be able to access it through satellite internet or even mobile internet. Some of these reasons are geographic. You might not have reliable broadband access where you're at. They could be financial. You might not be able to afford it. It could be a lot of factors that go into it. However, typically we look at older adults, lower income, and lower educated people do not have broadband access. When we're talking about consumer behavior, it's really a similar roadmap for brick and mortar consumers or online consumers. There are things that we, the company and advertisers, can't control. We really don't have control over cultural, social, or psychological backgrounds of our consumers. But we do have control over our brand. We control our marketing communications. We want to make sure that we really cater to the demographics and to the constraints that we have. And all of that ends up with the in store or online behavior of our consumers. If they're in store, are they looking at our products? When they find our products, do they compare it to our competitors? Or is this a consumer that has their mind made up? They go directly to the shelf that our product is, and they buy it, and they don't even look at anything else. Similarly, when we have online stores, does the customer go to our website? Do they put the item in their cart and immediately check out, or do they drag their feet a little bit? And depending on how we have our website set up, we can understand where that consumer came from. Did they access our website from Google? Did they access it from another website? We might even be able to look at some of their click dynamics to figure out, well, are they comparing us to another site? If, for example, maybe we're Lowe's. Are our consumers also visiting Home Depot? Are they looking at the same product from another retailer? Are they doing, virtual window shopping? These are all things that companies and markets need to understand about their consumers. Really have 5 stages in the consumer decision process. It all starts with an awareness of need or want, something we don't necessarily need, but we want to purchase. And this can be very generic. Maybe your refrigerator died, so you need a refrigerator. It can be incredibly specific. Maybe you want a PlayStation 5. After that, we want to have some more information. Is this a product that we need to do research on? If it's the refrigerator, we need to look at different models, different features, and find something that best fits our need. If we know exactly what we want, like that PlayStation, well, where's the best place to find it? Can we get it in stock? Do we have to buy online? Do we have to drive a little bit to get to it? Evaluation of alternatives. Again, if you know exactly what make and model you want, you might not be interested in looking at other options. But being a smart consumer, you want to explore other options. Maybe there's a cheaper alternative out there from another company, another brand, or even another model. Then we finally get to the actual purchase decision. Am I buying this in store? Am I buying it online? Maybe I'm doing a curbside pickup or a delivery. And then probably one of the most important things when we're talking about long-term interaction with the consumer and returning that customer's purchase or that customer's business is post-purchase contact with the firm. Does the customer come back for warranty? Do they interact with us online? There's a lot of different ways that a customer can interact with the company after they buy an item. Are they going to return it? Are they going to buy upgrades? Maybe they're just really loyal people and they post about this product online on social media. That's really powerful advertisement. If you see your friends bragging about something that they bought, you might start subconsciously thinking about buying that brand yourself. Generally, the process is the same when we're dealing with online purchasing, but I want to hone in on a couple things here. I think one of the most important is the website features. They talk about latency, usability, and security. How many times have you run into a website that was just incredibly clunky to use? Maybe the checkout features didn't work, or if you went to add something to your cart, it never added to the cart correctly. Maybe it didn't add to the cart at all, or maybe you put 2 or 3 items into the cart. Little inconsistencies like this in a website can really hurt consumer confidence. We also have some in the population that just don't want to buy anything online. They don't trust the internet to put out their credit card information or banking information. And it's just trust at the end of the day. If people don't trust the company, if they don't trust buying online, there's really nothing we can do to make them buy online. Finally, we look at that clickstream behavior. Just like I talked about before, we want to look at where our customers' mouse is on the website. What are they clicking on? Where are they going? This really goes into 2 different routes. One is a program and development side, and another is marketing research. We're going to talk about program and development side first. Helping a colleague of mine develop a program right now, and one thing we're looking at is clickstream behavior. And it's really to streamline the process, make sure that the features we have are in a logical spot, that users are not hunting for features. So think about this in terms of a website. After a consumer puts something in their shopping cart, typically they're going to go up to the top right hand side of that web page to check out. If we have our checkout or our shopping cart somewhere else in the page, it's going to cause confusion. There are certain unwritten standards or expectations on where things are on a website. I expect my menu bar to be either at the top or maybe on the left-hand side. I expect my cart, my checkout, my account information to be on the top right-hand side. Obviously, there are websites that deviate from this that are fine, but for the most part, this is where consumers are going to look. So if we have these features elsewhere in other less common locations, the website gets cumbersome. So we want to look at some of their clickstream behavior. Maybe after a consumer clicks, add to cart, they instinctively move the mouse to the top right hand, but our shopping cart's on the lower left. We can see that, and then we can redesign the website for that. On a marketing side behavior, we want to look at when they add that item to the shopping cart, do they check out right away? Do they add more things? Other items they're shopping for, are they accessories for that item? Are they similar? Did they put them in the shopping cart? Finally, we want to know, how did this visitor get to our website? Did they go through a search engine? Were they redirected by a partner through an affiliate link? Um, Also, if we have the data available, is this user looking at a competitor's website? Do they go to that competitor's website after our website? There are some security concerns in this, and we're starting to see more and more websites talk about their cookie policy, talk about their tracking policy more publicly and in a more in-your-face manner than what we've seen in previous years. And a lot of that's what you're agreeing to. Some of these tracking cookies, allowing the websites to see your interaction on their website, but also your interaction on other websites that could potentially be competitors. Just like traditional brick and mortar stores, we can really categorize our shoppers into browsers and buyers. There are people that love to window shop, and doesn't matter, maybe they don't have the money for it, maybe they're just not interested in purchasing something right now. They will go to a mall, they'll go to some sort of retailer and just walk around and see what's there. They might buy something. They probably won't buy anything though. But those are our browsers, and we see those online as well. Yeah, how many times do you go to maybe Apple or Dell and just spec out this outrageously powerful machine that it costs a huge amount of money and you never buy it? Well, that's browsers. Some people just go to Amazon all day and just click through different products that they really don't have a need or a want for. But these are things that we need to take account for. That's data that our marketing teams can look at and see. We also see a trend of online shopping being influenced by offline shopping. I know a lot of times when I'm at Lowe's or Home Depot, I usually have the competitor's website up on my phone, and I'll do some price bouncing back and forth while I'm in one of those stores, or maybe even bring up Amazon sometimes if I'm in a brick and mortar shop to kind of shop around. There was a time where that was pretty frowned upon, but a lot of large companies are understanding that e-commerce and traditional commerce are really coupled. They both power each other. Even though you might be shopping in one store, if you're window shopping their competitor, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And even though your competitor might be cheaper online, the consumer might pay more to have that in hand today. So e-commerce and traditional commerce, they do work hand in hand. Sometimes one will outperform the other, but it's all part of this, modern day shopping ecosystem that we live in. If we would have made this slide 10 years ago, it would have looked a lot different. Anymore, consumers would buy anything online that they would buy in a brick and mortar store. I remember growing up when I was, very young back in 56K dial-up days. It was I don't want to say awkward, but it was weird to buy things online. And you certainly wouldn't have bought something expensive online. There just wasn't a lot of trust. There wasn't a lot of consumer confidence, especially before the dot-com crash. I like to compare that time of online shopping to kind of like a Wild West. It was just crazy. There were really no standards on checkout. Yeah, I remember I would buy things online and I'd have to mail a money order, maybe because that consumer didn't take credit card, and certainly was no PayPal or Venmo back then. So if they couldn't take credit card, you'd have to mail them a money order. Sometimes you can call them and give a credit card or banking information over the phone, but that was even more uncomfortable sometimes. But anymore, you can buy anything online. You can even buy cars online. So, consumer confidence for the vast majority of shoppers in the world are comfortable buying online and they're comfortable doing big ticket purchases. Shoppers know what they want to buy and where they want to buy it, especially online. You're going to that company, that name brand store, and you're buying from them. Or you might go to a marketplace, Amazon or eBay. Outside of that, maybe a consumer is just looking on a search engine and you just want shirts or shoes or a very specific part. A lot of times, whatever Google spits out, you're going to go to a name that you recognize and a name that you trust. Um, Again, we're talking about trust. We know we can trust Amazon. We know we can trust eBay. We know we can trust any of the big names box stores, your J.C. Penney's, your Targets, your Home Depot, any of their online stores we know we can trust. The second point down there, 8% of internet users don't shop online. Again, it's a trust. Maybe they don't feel comfortable paying online. Maybe they just don't want to be hassled with it because online returns, Amazon is the exception, but you can return Amazon almost anywhere now. But returning it could be difficult. Sometimes you have to pay return shipping. Some people, if they get into that, they just won't return the item at all. They'll just eat the cost and deal with it. And that loses their confidence in buying online again. So even though 8% of internet users don't shop online, think of all the other people that don't even have the internet at all because of trust. Again, a lot of this is an older demographic who we may not be catering to anyway, but that's something to keep in mind. There are still people out there that do not trust the internet, that do not trust online purchases. Hey, we see trust again. I'm not going to keep beating this. We understand. People want to be able to trust where they're buying from. If they can't trust the process or the company, they're not going to buy from it. But the point above that, I really want to talk about better prices, convenience, and speed, because this not only shapes the consumer's purchasing habits online, but it also decides their habits on in store. Maybe you're doing a home improvement project or you're working on something that needs to be done immediately. We might not be able to wait for it to ship here. So you can pay more for the convenience of getting it today. If I'm working on a project, I would rather go to Lowe's, buy it, know I pay a little bit more, but I can finish this project now. Some things can wait. That's fine. If it takes a couple days to ship to get here, that's fine. I'll take the slower speed in terms of getting a better price. So it's a real balancing act. Does the consumer need these products right away? Can we deliver it right away? Or will we lose that sale to a local brick and mortar retailer? So we're going to wrap this up by talking about some different marketing for online. So obviously, we want to have a website, but just being have a website doesn't mean we're going to drive people to go to there. So we need to have some traditional online marketing. These are your search engines. These are having emails or affiliate links. We want to reach out on different social networks, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, your YouTubes, getting commercials out there, interacting with consumers to show them what our products can do. We can also use mobile marketing using their 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 cell phones, their iPads, their tablets using GPS location to make sure our ads are relevant and on time for them. And obviously, there's still very powerful offline marketing. Television, radio, and newspapers still hit a good demographic of the market. And I would say out of the three of those, radio is the most powerful. I've said before, we really need to know our demographic. If you're really catering it to that 18 to 34-year-old audience, online marketing is the absolute best. We want to have search engine results, we want to have mobile results, we want to have social marketing results. We're really going to hit that 18 to 34 demographic. And we can target to them individually. We can really narrow down exactly what type of individual in that age range we want to have our ads go to. Make sure that we're fitting their lifestyle and fitting their needs. Search engine marketing and search engine optimization is incredibly powerful, and it's a really great tool to get to consumers who may not be familiar with your brand. Some of this is paid inclusion or pay per click, but basically, what we're doing is we're describing our website, we're describing our products with keywords, and when people search for those keywords, our website would show closer to the top of the results. Obviously, we want to be in that number one, number two spot. It's not always possible based on our advertising budget or even just our keywords, but this really introduces new consumers to our marketing. And a lot of times, companies, especially new startups or smaller mom and pop shops, don't really understand search engine optimization. Any sort of display ad marketing, these are our traditional banner ads. We see maybe we're doing video ads like we talked about before, or we can even be doing sponsorships. One thing that comes to mind is Linus Tech Tips on YouTube. If you watch him, he's a Canadian YouTuber, does a lot of technology related videos, but he does a lot of sponsorships where maybe Nvidia or Intel would sponsor a video. This is really, really good marketing because it's sometimes a 20, 30-minute long commercial for these products. Some of them have stipulations where maybe the YouTuber has to say so many good things about it. Some of them have no strings attached, where you would go to a popular YouTuber that fits your demographic, say, hey, here's a new product, talk about it, love it or hate it. And they might absolutely bash your product, but still, that can be a 10, 15, 20-minute commercial for your product. They may not like it, but some of their viewers might really love what you're trying to sell. We're going to close this out with email marketing because this is a difficult thing to talk about. Um, a lot of email marketing just immediately gets categorized as spam, whether it's automatically by your email, Google, Yahoo, whoever you have, or just by the user. Even sometimes when we sign up for email marketing, when you create an account, you have that little checkbox, put me on your mailing list. Sometimes those just automatically go to the spam folder. And even if not, for me personally, sometimes I just delete them. So I know for contacting me, email marketing really doesn't work. Rarely do I actually click and open and read thoroughly just email marketing that comes my way. But for some people, this is effective. So again, we talked about it before. I'm starting to feel like a broken record, but you really need to know your demographic. Email marketing might work for you. The best thing is it's incredibly, incredibly cheap. Sometimes even free, other than the cost of having somebody write it up and send it out through something like MailChimp or any other client. You don't get a lot of click throughs, but you can really measure your responses. I know I run two MailChimp accounts for some nonprofits, and it's incredible the information I get when they open up the email, how long they're reading it, are they clicking on my links, what links are they clicking on. So there's a lot of really good data from that, but I need them to click and open it. Um, For example, one of them, I have a mailing list of 320 some emails. On average, 46% of those get opened. The rest are just deleted. So, right off the bat, only 46% of 320 people are actually opening my emails, and less of them are reading the whole thing, and less of them are even clicking on whatever link I'm trying to put out. But it's free. I'm not paying anything for it, so I'm still reaching some of our target audience. And we can also personalize these. I can go through and have every single email say the person's name. If I want, I can have automated emails go out on their birthday. There's a lot of things you can do to really call out and make the individual feel like you're talking directly to them and they're just not part of a mailing list. So that's going to wrap this video up. We're at about 25, 26 minutes right now. So hey, keep on pushing. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.